special guest and the person we're here to support tonight, Mead Treadwell. They are Grayson's godparents and two of the best people I know, and I know many of you have been to this home to support me and other people. And I think it's always a special crowd because the people that are here are the die-hard, devoted, insider Alaskans. They're not people that just sort of show up at all the fundraisers. They're really here to support the person that's here. And so I want to introduce Mead. This is a difficult election cycle. As we know, there are a lot of people in it. There's an incumbent, and Mead will have an opponent in the primary. So we're really here to ask you tonight to dig deep and think about what you want the future of the state of Alaska to look like. It's a really important time, and without casting aspersions, the choices that you have are not as good as this person right here. We all know that Mead served as our lieutenant governor. He's been the head of PT Capital. He's worn many hats. He's an inventor. He's worked in the venture capital world, and mainly he's just a really good father. He was a good husband. He's a good husband again, and he's a good friend. And he knows what Alaska is about. He knows what the economy needs at this point in time. He's a visionary. He's not afraid to come into a room and offer a new suggestion, even if it challenges convention. He's honest. He's loyal. He's hardworking, and I think he would make one hell of a governor. So please have
Well, hey, I'm Mead Treadwell, and I hear you're looking for a new governor.
Yeah.
And Liesl, I'd like to thank you, John and Amy. What a wonderful place and what a wonderful day to be here in the sunshine. You know, we don't know how many summer days we're going to get, but just remember today was summer, and they're out on the lake, and there's a lot of good things going on. I just wanted to tell you a few things, one about me, one about why I'm running, and what we think the race looks like. Just generally, I think Liesl gave you a very good introduction, and I just want to say that when you left the legislature, A, the IQ went down, B, the way to get to solutions went away, and Grayson, you know your mom, we have gas here and the lights stayed on because your mom figured out a set of incentives that we all worked on together to get more drilling on and Cook Inlet. We worked together on incentives on the North Slope, and then we elected a governor who didn't want to pay the bills. And I'm running for governor of Alaska because I think your government should keep its promises. We need to keep our promises as a state, and we need to force the federal government to keep its promises to our state. And let me just say up front on one issue, I will protect the dividend, and don't let anybody from any other part of this campaign tell you we won't. But we're going to not only protect the permanent fund, we're going to try to build a permanent economy. And that's the difference. I have been supported by a great family. My stunt double Timothy is here. Where's Tim? My daughter Natalie is flying home tomorrow. My son William was in Washington this week and helped organize an event in Washington. And my bride Clay works for the municipality, and she had, she had to work a little bit late and sends her best. But I do want to say this. We're all a family in Alaska. And as families in Alaska, there's certain families in trouble. We're seeing it with the opioid crisis. We're seeing it with depression and suicide. We're seeing it with domestic violence and sexual assault. And I really just want to say that I will be a Republican who will not leave those issues behind. We have to end the crime wave. We have to address the issues of opioids. I'll show you. I just had getting off a broken ankle. I still have 3 big bottles of opioids they gave me to bring home. And I think we're overextended out there. We need to do what we need to do to manage pain, but we're getting pain because too many people are losing their lives. About as many every year as we've lost in Vietnam. I mean, it's just a huge tragedy. Government needs to do what it does seriously. had dinner with Senator Dan Sullivan the other night, and Dan was saying that we can't even get the post office to let dogs in to tell us to keep the drugs out. We've got to have much more cooperation between the state government and the federal government on that issue. Let's talk about filling the pipeline for a second. We put together, and Senator McGuire was very much a part of this, an oil tax set of incentives that brought new exploration to the state. And dang, we actually found new oil. We found what might be the third or fourth largest oil field in North America at Smith Bay.
You're here.
And now we've got to get the roads to those resources in, but we have to keep our promises. People actually went out and borrowed money based on our promises, and then we defaulted. Not them, we defaulted. And I went to this governor because I believe in working with everybody. And I said, there's a way to finance this, and it took them 4 years to get around to do this while they played chicken with our economy to try to get a tax on it. And that's a problem. So we are going to fill the pipeline, and we're going to be very, very serious about that. Another thing, I was in a debate with all the candidates last Saturday night, and a fella from NACDAC, actually the superintendent of schools, asked a question, what can we do to keep the federal government from constantly encroaching on our lands? And he was talking about native lands and native allotments and state lands. And I said, Governor, we had a group of citizens who met for 2 years to do a report to have an agenda with the federal government. And Bill basically said, well, aren't you satisfied with getting King Cove Road open? No. I'm not satisfied. The sun is shining right now. We have an administration we can work with in Washington, and our agenda is AWOL. And we've got to get that fixed. And so I'm running, when I say we're running to keep the promises, I'm running to make sure that the promises that were made to us at statehood get kept. And a Secretary of Interior who doesn't want to turn more land over to the states, fine, let us manage it for you. Just even on what they're leasing up in Anwar, they want to take 2% of the royalty. 2% of the royalty they want to take just to be able to send us a check. I'm sorry, I don't need $100,000 a day to send you a check. We're going to send you the check, and we're going to confront them on that as well. So let's talk about the race just real fast. August 21st in a primary, there are 3 Republicans on the ballot. You've got one who's been primarily in business. I've known him, I've worked with him since the early 80s. You've got one who's been primarily in government, and I've known him only a short time. He helped Sean and me get elected. I helped him get elected in 2012. And he's primarily spent his career in government. And what I bring is a resume where we've done very interesting things in business, very interesting things in government, but it's all been geared to getting the kind of investment in Alaska we need to get jobs, to solve our problems, to have basic access to our resources, to educate our kids. And that is so incredibly important. And we are going up against a governor, a sitting governor, and a former U.S. senator. You can hiss at his name, so I won't say it, but I will say this. The 2 guys on the left want to raise your taxes. The 2 guys